Do not try to control the words so as to make them more acceptable. There was, yes, this was an orchestrated plan to undermine you, and there is a desperation that is causing those that have used strategy and manipulation, and we will call it the rules of the game, as from their perspective, to undermine, manipulate, and align things in the way they want to shape the universe. Your light has become too powerful for them to ignore or marginalize. There had been ways there had been things that had been put into place by them to keep you distracted or small. They have been trying to control and manipulate and watch how their actions reacted with your life and how we reacted to what was coming through, and they believed that they had abilities and powers to adjust things in a way that would prove beneficial for their vision. And so it was designed in ways to keep you off center and distracted and get pulled into trivia. They pushed buttons and pulled up your deepest pains and emotions from this lifetime and tried to use them as an anchor with which to bring about manipulation. They also use physiology to work their game and keep you off kilter. If they could just keep you focused, your focus off center, they believe that that would give them an opening with which to work. They played on your sense of honor and your word, and they played on all of your, many of your beautiful attributes, your compassion, your sense of duty, and not duty, but loyalty. Yes, loyalty. And being a person of your word, they also played on things that they knew were not just yours, but were of the deepest fears and points within those close to you, so as to put a multi-pronged manipulation in place. You were not feeling balanced and centered, but you did not immediately, but you were having the bells going off here and there that something was and you kept having yes, those connections to others who have tried to use these tactics of manipulation, because there are many puppets and some may not even realize what is occurring, because from their perspective they are trying to be beneficial and helpful, but it is being used and manipulated or strategized. Not strategized is a better term than manipulated. To them it is just strategy. Just moving of pieces, finding weaknesses, using. To them, emotions are tools with which you can use as to your advantage. If you can get the emotions going in a certain way and get them off kilter enough, they can use this to tweak. It was an attempt, a very well thought out, well planned attempt to undermine what is occurring, because if they could get in and corrupt all that you touch, then God would have to rethink his plan. They thought they were they were willing to do this. They are not. The originators of this are not from your universe. There is there is another universe that God is going through. He has not gone through as far as he has come through the universe of the souls. This universe has been, we will use the term feeding off your universe, the universe of the souls, for a very long time. They influence a lot in the way and the direction. This is not the consortium, but it is one, how do we put this? It was not direct puppets of the consortium. They were like a parallel group that was more of a society as opposed to a few individuals that are hidden and manipulated. They have built a society in this way, and they are very big on the ideas of laws and rules, and they are very attuned to the values, and they can see very clearly how the divinity is moving, and they have watched it, but in others, and yet they have used it instead of using it to work with and be inspired by, instead of using these ones have created, I would want to say an experience, but it is more than that. It is a universe. It is very, we will say, twisted and dark, and they are very much infected. Yes, we'll use that term. They are very infected, and their infection has been for so long in such a way that everything has been built but they are very good at manipulation and recognizing and feeding off of others and getting them to agree to and to work in line with their purposes. They do not have compassion for the souls or the universe. They have, in fact, I would trying to find the word you would understand, but it's like jealousy, disdain, anger, disgust for souls, and they want to undermine the universe of souls. This is seen clearly now. It was there. The experience of God coming through is very... God has made this choice that the places that were closely aligned to him, and their divinity was more aligned to him, he went through first and fuller and in a faster rate. And thus, most of creation is doing quite well. But the places that were the most distorted, and the distortions were the deepest, he is going through at a slower, more methodical, compassionate pace that he adjusts upon seeing what is going on, because it is his... I do not know if to say compassion, love, intention. It is a word. It is of those things. To have as much of the individuality and the beauty that exists with the souls, to have that remain. This is very difficult, because so much is tangled into the distortions. And so much of the soul's identities themselves are tangled into the distortions. So he is moving through cautiously and carefully. Those from this other universe that are really concerned, because they have the ability to understand and move through the multiverse. They recognize what is coming, and have recognized that if they can get God to pull back and limit or to adjust what he is doing, that they may be able to save what they have created. This was a foolish attempt on their part, because God's compassion is such that he is compassionate when he recognizes that they are distortions, but they are returning to divinity, and he will work with it. He will work with it carefully. But just as with the consortium, when you make a foolish lash out that is undermining God's plan directly, then it becomes clear this is not simply a distortion. This is an identity of distortion. These are the best words that we can find with that with which we have been speaking with you. In those instances, such as these ones, he is going to... You love to think about God and the angels and the archangels, and they are quite beautiful and strong. But as the Great Mother was saying, they have a soft spot for respect for each individual and giving them the allowances. This has been used against them. God is going to move through, and he is moving through. No, he is not at this point, is setting up. So God has gathered up. They are not ones that there are these, he is gathering these ones. These ones, they work with God in the creation of universes, and you have heard of the term and are aware of, there, some of you, of galactics that works with we'll say we work with galaxies. There are also, you would maybe call them universals. This is not really a good term, and it is not how we see them, but they're very powerful ones. They are not truly of the divine realm. It is as though we described that the multiverse exists as like a bunch of grapes. Yes, we will do this illustration again. The multiverse is like a bunch of grapes, with each grape being their own universe. And that I do not know these words. That which attaches the grapes to each other within the bunch. She is very tired, and she is very weakened by the recent attack, and her ability to find words is limited. So we will have to paint this picture slightly more crudely than normal. So each grape would be a universe, and that which connects the grapes within the bunch would be a multiverse connection with paths. Now imagine that this bunch of grapes exists in we will call it a greenhouse, but it is more of a fluid type membrane, but that will be our best description of it. The universals exist and tend and create within this membrane. So they are not truly of the divine realm, but they are not, they are the tenders, the creators of the multiverse. These ones are being gathered up. They tend to move and through and to and fro, and as things are needed, they do this. But at this particular point juncture, God is gathering these ones together because this is a multiverse issue that has not remained in a single universe or grape. So he is gathering them in a way of decision. They will be decisions looked at, made, and considered by these ones along with God, the source of all light, as to the way of dealing with this particular incursion. All of those that, because this universe of which we are discussing, we are showing her some of it. It is a different nature. That you're in the universe of the souls, there is much separation, individualized. And it is easier to pull out a piece because it is already so separated. But in this other universe, it is more fluidly connected. And there are still what you would call individual consciousnesses, but their interwovenness with their fabric of their universe is of a different nature than in the universe of the souls. And so the process of how to address this and recognize that it will not continue is being considered. It is very likely that this universe may become We do not know whether to use the word singularity, imploded, or recycled, for none of those terms are in fact truth, but it is being worked out. These are the ones that have been ramping up their manipulations, and this is not going to be allowed. It's causing too many problems here and interfering with the process, the progress of within the universe of the souls. You may notice now that I am talking a lot more clearly and smoothly. That is because it is not as necessary any longer. Yes, her voice changed. Before, it was okay. She is now understanding. When she recognized the attack, that the attack had occurred and what was going on, she called out and asked for God, the source of all light, the great Father, the great Mother, and Light, to come in and help, because she was not having, it was a very targeted attack that was taking advantage of, or at least they believed it was taking advantage of a weakness that they could undermine and infiltrate through. And when that request came out, we heard her and we acted. And so it was that God, the source of all light, the great Father, I am the great Mother that is speaking now, and Light, came forward and were speaking to you through and with the communicator while we were assessing and dealing with this situation. The communicator has a very compassionate relationship with the Time Weaver, and so having him be present, and we call him, though he is not male, but that is just the best way to describe it, since we tend to describe the Time Weaver as she, so this would make it more of a pretty picture for you to understand. We allow the communicator to facilitate the conversations as we were addressing and dealing with this situation. This situation has now been assessed and dealt with and is in the process. Sorry. Yes, we still are having words issues. She is recuperating from the attack. It may take a little time. Not long, but it may take a little time. The situation has been dealt with, or is being dealt with. Once again, funny words for us. Yes, we try to give you some warning, and they have been particularly strong in the past little bit, but it's now dealt with. We will keep you on the beneficial path and light. It was just over a shorter period of time. It will not make a big difference here where you are, but where they came from. It is not that their end result is any different, but the timeline for their universe, because of their intentions, actions, because of their choices. No, it's not choices. It is very hard. They will be fine. They're being taken care of. The situation is their process has been sped up because there has been found that there is less there to save and maintain. So you can now be at peace and relax and let go and not worry. Let what is divine, what naturally occurs, occur. Do not try to create false paths. We love you, my dear. We love you dearly. Be at peace and recuperate.